Yeah.
Right, well, right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's nice to meet you in the evening again. And the first item on the agenda is appointment of vice chairman. Do we have any nominations for appointment vice chairman?
Councillor Newman here would like to nominate Ken Turner.
Thank you. Are you happy with that, Councillor Turner?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairman.
Do we have any other nominations? No? Then we'll take a vote on it. Are people happy with Councillor Turner being vice chairman for the forthcoming municipal year? Yes? Councillor Newman, yes?
Yeah.
Yes, Councillor Turner, I assume
Yes.
you are?
Yeah.
Yes, and I am, so that's 3 saying yes.
Yes, have no problem.
Right, so Councillor Turner, congratulations.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
The next item on the agenda is declarations of interest, and members are reminded of the legal requirements concerning declarations of interest. Does any member have any declaration of interest they wish to declare?
No, Madam Chair.
No?
No, Madam Chairman.
No? Right, item 3 on the agenda is public question time, and we have had some questions from members of the public. Joanne, do you have those to read out? Because I haven't.
There's just one question I have from somebody about Belgarth Care Home. They're asking about this derelict site. They've said, when will the council get serious about actually making the site either completely secure so it cannot be used by youths from the Pendle area, or a notice served for demolition so the above takes place?
I think this is a matter for planning. Is Catherine here yet?
I am here, Chair. Would you like me to respond to that?
Please, if you would, Catherine.
Yes, obviously through yourself, Madam Chair, we've been aware of this since July last year. It's not just planning that's involved with it, it's environmental health as well, and Tim Horsley's involved. We are trying to obviously get this resolved. The ideal solution would be to get the building brought back into use. And until that happens, we will have issues with people getting onto the site and causing problems. Environmental health have been monitoring on a regular basis to get the site secure, and any broken windows boarded up. They've just been down this week, and there was another broken window that's now been boarded up. And we are in contact with the owners of the site to try and get this matter resolved. We did send a letter out to them in March requiring a schedule of works that we thought were necessary to be done to the building. Unfortunately, the 21 days that we gave them then coincided with the national lockdown due to COVID-19, which will have prevented or hindered the works. Further to that, we've sent them a further letter requesting that they contact us with a timescale of when the works are going to be carried out and any future use of the building. What I propose is that we get a full report to you next month when the problem buildings will be reported, with a view to if we've not had a satisfactory response, to discussing what action can be taken at that stage. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Catherine. I believe the police have also taken an interest in the site because there has been some vandalism going on, and I feel very sorry for the neighbours.
Councillor Turner wishes to speak, Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Madam Chairman, I enjoyed the conversations that Catherine just made, and I noticed that we had sent a letter in March, and Okay, it hasn't gone, but a further letter has been sent. When was that letter sent? And how long are we going to give them before we get a response? This has been going on for 2 years with neighbours constantly complaining of the disturbances that are there. And I'm a little bit concerned that we're only asking for windows to be boarded when they've got broken. Why did we not look to boarding up the site prior to them getting smashed and providing even more difficulty in facilitating access to the site? In view of that, and I do appreciate that we've had COVID, but that's not going to be, that could be here forever and a day. So we're not going to live on this forever and a day. Could I propose that we actually ask planning and environmental health to start moving down the route of forming and issuing a notice for service? And could I also suggest that we do this in preparation of non-response? If we haven't had a response to the letter in March and the letter that we've now sent, how long do we anticipate waiting before we take positive action to save the residents who live in that area? Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Turner. Yes. Catherine, do you want to come back? I mean, obviously the next step is enforcement, isn't it?
Yes, through you, Madam Chair, we do take on board all the points that have been raised. Yeah. We've had it for a year, and as you know, Madam Chairman, when something goes on the problem building site, if it was easy to resolve, it wouldn't make it onto that list. Unfortunately, it's when it requires more action, if you will, and other departments to get involved in it. What I would really like to do is, which I've not been able to do this week, is speak to Tim Horsley about where he is up to with it. Yeah. Because it could be he can get a community protection order done sooner than later. I am conscious if we do take enforcement action, the courts have a long backlog, and they are not prioritising our cases at this moment in time. We are trying to negotiate with the owners and be reasonable, but obviously at some point, as Councillor Turner has said, if we don't get the satisfactory response, we will have to take action on it. Yeah. But what I suggest is we get a full report back to you at the next meeting. If they have responded, I think we've only given them 7 days to respond, so we should hear something hopefully in the next couple of days. If not, then we'll look at what actions we can take and which will be the quickest and more satisfactory for the residents without hopefully having to go to court, which, you know, I can't see that happening in the next few months. So if we can work with them and we can get something satisfactory, then we will do that and report that back to you.
Yeah, it would be good if we could, actually. Councillor Turner?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Madam Chairman, I'm appreciative that we will have a full and detailed report at the next meeting. But listening to what Catherine has just said, I may be misunderstanding, but the suggestion that we may get a response back in the next couple of days, having given them 7 days, would suggest we've only actually sent the letter quite recently. And I did ask, have we had a response to the letter we sent in March?
Do you know, Catherine, if we've had
yes, apologies, Councillor Turner. I did say we haven't had a response to them, but we don't know what their situation is during the lockdown. No. Now that has eased, we have written to them again and said we've not had a response, but we do need to find out if Tim's had a response regarding the community protection order.
Many thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's always difficult when there's more than one department involved, so we do appreciate that. So, but it is becoming rather, I mean, the building itself is an eyesore, and it is, you know, quite frankly.
Apologies, Chair. Councillor Newman indicated that he may wish to speak.
Councillor Newman?
Thank you, Chair. I think this site requires, rather than waiting, requires require some action, because it's going to end up, it'll never end up being a nursing home again. It's going to end up being either fired or broken into and wrecked beyond the point of repair. Is there any way that we could get the owners to put it on the market to sell it?
Well, I mean, we can't actually force anybody to sell it, but I mean, obviously we are now in contact with the owners, which I think at one time we had difficulty getting hold of them, if I remember correctly. But now we are obviously in communication with them. So hopefully something will come out of the recent letters being going sent.
Okay,
Right, thank you very
thank
much.
you.
Anything else? No?
No, no more questions, Linda, Chairman.
Right, thank you. Well, the next item on the agenda is the minutes to approve or otherwise the minutes of the meeting held on the 8th of July. Somebody move those?
Move them.
Thank you. Second, anybody?
Yes, I'll second that, thank you.
All in favour? So there's just 3 of us actually to vote.
Yes. Agreed.
All in favour? Right, thank you. Police and community safety. The police aren't with us tonight, I gather, so have we heard anything from them?
No, we've had no apologies and nobody's accepted to come to the meeting. We haven't had the crime statistics for this month. It's only the 30th today, so we'll probably get them sometime next week and I can circulate them to members.
Yes, if you would please, Joanne, thanks.
Yeah.
Hello, thank you.
Thank you.
We've had the police attending our parish council meeting. We have a concern on the bypass, but apart from that, there is nothing that I can report. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor Newman. So I know they do pop into the parish council office in Barrowford frequently to keep us up to date of anything that happens in Barrowford. So, right, well, the next item on the agenda then is planning applications, and we just have the one planning application, and it's a full conversion of barn into 2 holiday lets and siting 5 holiday cabins, which is a resubmission at Stonefold Farm, Stumphall Road, Higham. We do have a lot of people wishing to speak on this and people who have sent in letters regarding it. So, anybody, have we got any of the speakers here?
Yes.
Shall we, Linda, sorry, Chairman, shall we go through the list just to check initially that
Just
they're
to
here?
check, yes, who's here.
So I've got a list in front of me. Can we check that Becky Murrell is here?
Yes, I'm here.
Joe Davis?
Yes, I'm here. Thanks, John.
Daisy Whitehouse?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. Stuart Forshaw?
Yes.
Yes, present.
I've seen
Robin
him.
Willoughby?
I've seen Robin, yes.
Okay. And then I've got 2 representations, which I'll read one out and David Walker's going to read out another one. In addition to that, there were 2 other written submissions which have been all the representations received have been circulated to members before the meeting. John Horsfall and Mrs Morville have sent written submissions and we're happy not for them to be read out tonight, but members have seen them.
Yeah.
So if we want to start with Becky Murrell, I think.
Thank you. Becky?
Yes, that's lovely. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak. I am vehemently opposed to the idea of holiday cabins at Stonefold, and I'm not alone. A total of 120 individuals plus 5 organisations registered their objections to the proposed development. A significant point notably omitted from the planning officer's report. These include 14 of the 16 households in Sabden Fold. 100 signed a petition they were people who walked, ran or rode on the bridle path past my house, and 20 wrote in to express their opposition and explain their reasons. All ask the same perplexing question. Why is there such an intent to risk irreversibly damaging one of our area's most precious assets, our area of outstanding natural beauty? And for what reason? Certainly not for the greater societal good, but, I would argue, for the financial benefit of one individual and for the small elite who can afford to hire luxury holiday cabins. I live at Old House Farm in Sabden Fold, and I'm the third nearest visual neighbour to Stonefold after Lower Houses and Dean Farm, both which are listed buildings. And so I've got first-hand experience of two key things. One is the fact that people come here to appreciate the area's unique tranquility and rural charm. And secondly, the devastating impact that this development would have on the local amenity. Sabden Fold Valley, locally termed a hidden gem, has unique geological and ecological features, as well as great historical significance. Little has changed here throughout the centuries, and indeed, if Alice Nutter herself were to return, she would recognise much of what she once knew in her day. During the consultation period, there was only one submission in support of the proposed development, aside from the applicant, and an objector remarked, "Whoever wrote the supporting testimonial from Marketing Lancashire has obviously never been here." And I believe this to be true, because if they had have been, they would know that the noise and light pollution, the visibility of the site from the footpaths on either side of the valley at a higher elevation than the site, that includes the popular route up Pendle Hill via Spence Moor, and the very existence of such a development here are completely incongruous and out of character. As any resident of Sabden Fold will testify, the annual Sabden Music Festival can be clearly heard in the fold as noise carries easily up and down the valley. So holiday makers revelling in hot tubs, barbecuing with music blaring would undoubtedly cause a major noise pollution. Furthermore, the development is not sustainable. It's only accessible by car and not by public transport, and it will struggle to extend the tourist season in winter as the access road is ungritted and often unpassable in snow. It poses a significant risk to highway safety, as detailed in Lancashire County Council's Highways Objection. The planning officer's report states that it's acceptable for visitors to walk 800 metres to Higham, but I would argue that this is actually a distance of 960 metres and would indeed be dangerous due to the unlit and unmade surface and the steep gradient.
Yeah.
In any case,
Mrs. Merrill, it's 5 minutes for your part. So.
Well, it's all right. You're in mid-sentence, so you can carry on.
Well, to conclude, I would argue this development poses an unacceptable impact on the character, tranquility and natural beauty of the area of outstanding natural beauty.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. Any other speakers?
So, Linda, I have one from the Lonsdale family at Dean Farm. They've asked for this to be read out. Our family farms at Dean Farm, and we strongly object to the proposed development of holiday cabins at Stone Fold, which borders our land. Our family has farmed at Dean for 3 generations, and we feel privileged to live and work in such a special place. Dean Farm, a Grade 2 listed building, is one of the oldest farms in Sabden Valley, dating from 1574. Visitors come from far and wide to enjoy the rural tranquility, rustic charm and historical aspects of this area, and luxury holiday cabins are simply not in keeping with, and indeed will detract from, the nature and character of Sabden Valley. In addition, we feel that the noise and light pollution generated by the holiday park will seriously impinge on the area's status as an area of outstanding natural beauty. Dean Farm is one of the neighbouring properties to the proposed development, and we have serious concerns about the access to the site via Stump Hall Road. Increased pedestrian and vehicular usage would have an extremely negative impact on all local residents and farm-related vehicles, and we feel present a significant highway safety concern for all road users. We believe that the current number of incidents on Stump Hall Road is hugely underreported, as many people choose not to involve the police and insurance companies in these matters. Finally, we worry that as this is the first proposed development of its type in this area, it is effectively the thin end of the wedge and could lead to future expansion both at this site and at others, as landowners seek to diversify by developing inappropriate visitor attractions. As farmers, we have a duty to protect the countryside for future generations to continue to enjoy, and therefore we implore Pendle Council to reject this application.
Thank you very much indeed, Joanne. So, we any other speakers or objections that need to be read out?
So the next one is Joe Davis, the agent.
Thank you, Chair.
I've got you here on my list of people, so Joe, but I can't see you.
Can you hear my camera? Joe? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you, Chair.
Right, thank you. And you're the agent. So
thank you. Oh, sorry.
Carry on.
So thank you, Chair members. I'm speaking on behalf of the applicant, Mrs. Daisy Whitehouse. PWA Planning are the agent for this application and wanted to take this opportunity to highlight some points in support of the proposal. So throughout the planning process, the applicant has worked with the planning department to make changes and provide additional detail to get to the point where the officer is satisfied and that the proposals are acceptable. Our client Daisy has shown a passion for the local area and taken a proactive approach during the application process to provide a scheme which can be supported by the planning team and make a positive contribution to the local area. Given the site's location in the area B, careful consideration has been given to the design and siting of the proposed development to ensure the cabins respect the unique character of the area. The proposals will also bring significant benefits to the local economy, providing valuable and high quality accommodation for visitors to the local area. We would like to thank the planning officers for their positive recommendation on this application, but there are, however, a number of points which it is important to add further detail on to address concerns raised in the officer's report. So firstly, in terms of landscape impact, the members may have noted the objection in the officer's report from the A&B landscape officer regarding the thinning of tree cover, the scale and amount of glazing associated with the cabins and external lighting. It is, however, important to highlight that following these concerns raised, the applicant has worked with the planning officers and made significant changes to the scheme to address these points and to ensure a scheme can be delivered which sits comfortably within the landscape and respects the character of the A&B. The changes include altering the pitch of the cabins, reducing their height and removing significant amounts of glazing to reduce any potential light pollution. A full topographical survey and updated landscape plan have also been provided, confirming precise numbers of trees to be removed and new planting which is to take place, showing any temporary loss of tree cover will be mitigated through the planting of further native species on the site. It is important to emphasise the client has worked with the planning team to overcome the objection raised by the A&B landscape officer in order for the planners to now be comfortable with the scheme's landscape impact. The A&B were not, however, reconsulted on the scheme for the applicant to directly overcome the initial objection noted in the officer's report. A further important point are the concerns raised over the access to the site of Stump Hall Road. The officer's report raises concerns over the acceptability of the visibility displays, noting the visibility displays cannot be adequately judged without the need of a speed survey. It is important to note that throughout the application process, no speed survey has been requested from the planners to overcome the access concerns prior to the planning committee. During the pre-application process, it was also confirmed a speed survey would not be required. But if a survey had been requested, this could have been undertaken prior to tonight's committee in order to satisfy any concerns of the visibility displays not being adequate. Despite this, the client would welcome the opportunity to provide further traffic speed information, if requested, to confirm the acceptability of the visibility displays or amend the displays accordingly. We hope that the details of the displays can be confirmed either by a suitably worded condition or the recommendation of this matter be delegated back to the officers to ensure appropriate displays are achieved. The officers' report also notes concerns regarding the vegetation on the banking along the access point on Stumphall Road, with the growth of vegetation potentially reducing visibility displays. The client would also welcome a condition to be added to ensure the visibility displays are maintained throughout the operation of development. So in short, the proposed development would provide high quality visitor accommodation, which has been sensitively designed to make a positive contribution to the landscape character of the area. We hope the committee will take on board the additional clarification presented here. Our client has taken on board the landscape comments to provide a scheme which is appropriate within the A and B, and we hope any additional information required in regards to the access and visibility displays can be achieved by suitably worded conditions or delegated back to the planning officer. I urge the planning committee to please approve the application in line with the recommendation. Thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, please do let me know. Thank you.
Oh, we will, Joe. Thank you very much indeed, Joe. There's that, Councillor Turner, you've had your hand up for a bit, but does anybody want to ask any questions, Becky or Joe?
Councillor Newman wished to raise questions as well. Sorry.
Right, Councillor Turner.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Could I first of all say thank you very much for the presentation that has just been made, and I'm very pleased to see how well the applicants have negotiated with our planning departments in order to resolve their issues. However, we have had little discussion on the visibility display, and I'm sure everyone will agree that the speed limit on this particular stretch of road, which is totally unacceptable, is in fact 60 miles per hour. And as a consequence of that, regardless of the speed that vehicles are taking at this point in time, we must always envisage that people can legally drive along this road at 60 miles an hour. We had a road traffic accident, I believe, last year in the personal injury was effected, and there is no evidence at all to show any development on the visibility display. Is there any proposal to do that? Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you very much, Councillor Turner. Are you actually asking a question of?
Sorry, Madam Chairman. That was a question of the developers.
The developer, right? Thank you. Did you get that, Joe?
Yes, thank you, Chair. So, of course, the speed limit is high. I understand it's 60 miles an hour, which is unacceptable. What we're proposing is we could get somebody out to do a traffic survey to find out what the average speeds are, and then provide visibility displays based on this. So, of course, if there's any further information we do need to request or required to produce, we are happy to do that. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Joe.
Madam Chairman, may I come back on that, please?
Go on.
May I come back on that response?
Yes, certainly.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Madam Chairman, I enjoy what has just been said. The acceptance of a speed limit of 60 miles an hour means that vehicles can travel down there at 60 miles an hour. That road constantly has vehicles for use by the farms in that location, and as a consequence, it has a 60 miles an hour speed limit. The visibility must be incorporated to contain a 60 miles an hour potential vehicles travelling along that road. The concept of saying we will do a speed limit, we'll do a speed limit test as at a specific time, is irrelevant. The speed limit is 60 miles an hour, so the visibility display should compensate for a 60 miles an hour transport along that road. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you very much, Councillor Turner.
Could I
Councillor Newman, you've had your hand up for a bit, but I think Mr. Willoughby wishes to come in.
Okay.
Robin?
Can I ask a question?
No, I don't want to come in at the moment.
And no, I don't need to come in at the moment. I'm only, I think the council are asking questions of the last speaker.
Right, thank you.
Linda, we still have a number of speakers to speak. Shall we let the speakers speak and then we can go to questions?
You asked if we had any questions for the agent, and I have a question for the agent. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Sorry, who was that?
That's Mr. Walker.
Hello, Mr. Walker. Yes,
Good evening, Chairman. Could I just ask a couple of questions of the agent, please? The red edge for the application site includes the access track. It does not include the visibility displays. What I'm not clear about is whether or not the applicant has control over the visibility displays, because they actually extend on both sides of Stumphall Lane. And I very much suspect that they do not have control of the land and therefore cannot guarantee the maintenance of the visibility displays in the long term. And in any event, the visibility displays will involve the removal of significant banking on both sides of Stumphall Road. And again, I'm not sure they can deliver that if the ownership of the land is outside of the applicant's control. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Mr. David?
I was going to ask if the agent can confirm that they don't control it.
Am I allowed to answer that, or the applicant?
Yeah, is it okay to let Mrs. Whitehouse answer this question?
Because Joe might not know the answer.
Well, yes.
Yeah,
it isn't a general discussion, but go on, I will on this occasion let you answer.
Thank you. We don't own the other side of the road, no, but both farmers that do own the land on the other side of the road are happy to work with us.
Huh.
They've told us they are anyway.
Rubbish.
Right. Can we not have interruptions from, I was going to say from the floor, but.
So I think Daisy Whitehouse now is down to speak. So shall we let Daisy say?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thanks everybody. Thank you, Madam Chairman. Right, so I'm keen to explain the concept behind my idea and the experience that we want to create. I don't want to go over the stuff that Joe's already covered because I have been asked not to repeat it, but I will try and reinforce the odd point through. I run my own marketing business specialising in leisure and destination, and I've worked with all sorts of companies from kind of big hotel developments to visitor attractions to the Lawrence Hotel in Padiham, small boutique hotel. I'm really passionate about the experience that hospitality creates and about building something unique people will remember forever. I think this countryside is really staggering, and I think that visitors will really appreciate it. And I know you all agree about that. And we're residents. And as the residents, we understand that it must remain as unchanged as possible, but hopefully opening up to offer some opportunities. The plan is to create a hidden oasis, a really magical place to stay that no one would know was here. That's the key, much like our house. When visitors come to it, they say often that they've lived here for years and they've never actually seen the house. They didn't even know it was there. And the idea with the cabins is to do the same thing. Can you stop laughing, please? Because it's really rude.
Yes,
the cabin should be the
same.
Chairman, can people who aren't speaking please mute their microphones? Thank you.
Even the arrival will be magical through the trees. The cabins will be totally unseen until you enter the site through an archway just behind our house. We intend to manage the trees to help the existing ones thrive, but also, as many are self-seeded and a bit messy, we want to take the lesser quality ones out and plant new indigenous species all around the site to create a real barrier around it. We're also working on whether we can bring an orchard in too, so that we can grow fruit trees. This will further enhance the hidden nature of the site. The cabins will be luxurious, yes. They will be in tune with nature, environments surrounding them. We want to put great technology in them, beautiful natural materials, plenty of supplies, but no cars driving around the site. We'll ask our customers to come in one car and we will incentivise them with money and other things to do so. We will incorporate green solutions for heating and insulation that's fit for purpose. I understand there is a concern that we'll attract people that want to make a load of noise and play loud music. This won't offer what those people want. And what's more, these people will be near my house and my young children, and I don't want that either. We want to attract people who want to enjoy a day out in the countryside and relax in peace in the evening. We want it to be rural, slow, quiet, for them to sit down and have a drink inside around the fire. I will ensure that all the marketing and the PR, our websites, our prices, our social media advertising is all designed to reach those people. Our dream customer is, yes, somebody with money to spend. Single friends, couples, families, people who want to escape, who want to cycle, walk, visit local places such as Bali and Clitheroe, but they don't want to stay in a hotel. They want to see the sky and hear the wildlife. We know these people exist because we're like that, and we go to these places elsewhere, and we know they will want to come. So quickly, some statistics. The Northwest is the third most popular place for Brits to visit in the UK. East Lancashire doesn't benefit from that as much as it should. The current travel bans and the growth in the staycation are here to stay, and we're really able to capitalise on that here in Pendle. The Pendle Hill Landscape Partnership Sense of Place Toolkit is a perfect illustration of the potential of the market. The map at the beginning of the document even has our house on it. It states that tourism is worth around 10 million a year to the economy here. They're aiming to double the short breaks visiting. With 3 million people within a 2-hour drive and currently a tenth of this audience reaching the summit of Pendle Hill, there is scope for growth. I'm not talking about bringing all of those people here, just a few. But these stats and those of Visit Lancashire, national tourism and the rural diversification goals all lean towards this being the way forward for rural communities like ours. I've been accepted in principle for rural diversification funding for this project, as they say it fits perfectly within their framework. I understand this is down to you to decide who the right people are to be trusted with something as important as this, especially a first decision, as somebody else has already referred to. It's important it doesn't detract from the lives of the people that object. And I understand, because I am one of those people, and I came here because of what it has to offer, and I don't want to lose it any more than they do. Pendle has lots of accommodations, but the seafood pub company's just gone bust. Visit Lancashire have told me that every single glamping site in the region is sold out for summer already, and the Fence Gate is the only high-end accommodation left. It's vital that we bounce back and replace the lost places, or people are just going to go somewhere else. What's more, the typical spend of guests is £10 to £15 a head. This can be multiplied by as much as 10 times if people stay over. So with even modest calculations, if we bring 10 people a week, each staying for 3 nights, spending £15 a day in the local economy, that's £25,000 of new money for Pendle and the businesses within it, not me, other businesses. So as a PR specialist and a local advocate, I'm also really keen to shine a light on the region. It's not just about my business and its potential. I'm currently working with Michael, who runs the Lawrence Impadium, on a PR campaign for the town, not as a paid job, just as a volunteer for something I feel passionate about. He's bringing the businesses together to create an identity for the town, and we want to put it on the map nationally, which is something I hope I can do here as well. We will work with local businesses, the pub, the bakery. We love the bakery. We have 4 loaves from them every week, and we will have their loaves in the cabins every day that we have somebody in there. We buy milk from our local farmer. We'll do the same with him. And he is on board. Oliver is on board because their sheep are on our land, and we talk to him all the time, and his son, and they're on board. We work with Burnley.
Minutes, thank you.
Oh, can I just finish, because I did get interrupted?
Yes, go on, just do that.
I have so many ideas and so much passion to make it work. I've invested a lot of time and money into the project, and I really hope that you can see what a benefit it could be. I hope you see I have a commitment to being part of the community. I don't want to be at odds with all these people. I want to work with you, respect the AOMB, and hopefully enhance it, not make it worse. Thank you
very much, Daisy. Councillor Newman, you've been sitting there patiently.
Chairman, should we let the other speakers finish?
Yes, go on. Who else?
Go into the discussion. So next is Stuart Forshaw.
Stuart Forshaw, I've seen his name, so. Stuart Forshaw.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. I hope you can hear me. I'm grateful for the opportunity Hello.
Hello, we can hear you, Stuart, but we can't see you yet.
Thank you. Right. If you wish to see me, just hold on, please. Right, there I go.
Right.
Madam Chair, I believe thank you for the opportunity to speak. I understand that all the councillors have been circulated with the letters and submissions received from people wishing to speak. So I am not going to read through my presentation in the interest of time, but I would just like to draw out what I think are perhaps a few of the outstanding and main issues. We're actually talking about an area here of outstanding natural beauty. Those are the three key words. I'd add a few of my own. They would include tranquil, unspoilt, accessible, safe. So this is basically a place of peace and refuge, an undisturbed habitat. It's been unspoilt. The buildings, some of the buildings go back to the time before Oliver Cromwell and the Pendle Witches. There's not been any new residential development in my memory over the last 30 years of living around here between Sabden and Newchurch, other than a few farm buildings obviously necessary. But there's a few other key words, and they include the environment, sustainability, responsibility and governance. This is all in the submission. I wonder where the large number of recycling bins for the equivalent of 8 dwellings are going to be cited. Pendle Borough Council seem to have 3 bins minimum outside or inside most people's residences. So my maths tells me that's 24 bins. Where do they go? I don't know. What will happen to the foul water and sewage from the 8 dwellings? Well, the property is currently on septic tank system. I can assure you from personal experience, it's no easy thing to maintain the contents in a state where the biological breakdown necessary for the waste is worked with the wrong detergents and washing liquids. I think with 8 dwellings here and 5 jacuzzis, goodness knows what happens to the water from them, there's high danger that pollution will seep into the brook, Sabden Brook, which runs the length of the valley. As far as sustainability goes, we will all know and understand that this is a delicate and fragile ecosystem in the valley. There's a lot of fly tipping, a lot of litter. I won't go through the details, but some of the stuff that I found in the last 10 years has been quite disgusting on plains and in the field. I've made the point about the septic tank and possible seepage into the stream. I've made a point in my submission about the need for the footpaths and bridleways and tracks to be kept clear for the access and accessibility. But I've noted, rather sadly, that the applicant is the one person in the area who has allowed the tracks adjoining her property to become completely overgrown, so as they are impassable.
Thank you, Stuart. We won't go to personalities. Have you completed your presentation?
No, I think I just wanted to refer to parts of the planning officer's report on the policy statements. Again, the notes are in the appendix, but I make the point, does this development protect and enhance the area in any way, shape or form? No. Will it promote the type of tourism envisaged for AONB? No. Will it extend the tourism season into the winter, We've heard about the ice on the roads. So hardly. Will it achieve high environmental standards with jacuzzis? No. Increasing car usage and unacceptable impacts on highway safety? Yes, it will definitely increase car usage. We've heard about the splays, but what about the amount of traffic in the whole of the area? High standards of design and accessibility? No. Poor design that fails to take the opportunities available to improve character? Yes. So, obviously, I urge rejection of this by the council. We should be remembered for what we didn't allow to happen and not what we might allow to happen. We can't hide this thing in the bushes like the dog walker who throws his dog's poo bag into the trees pretending it's not there. It will be there. It will be there forever. We can't allow it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Stuart. Thank you.
So next we have
else,
Robin. We have Robin Willoughby next.
Robin. Well, I know you're here, Robin, because I've seen you. So, Robin, would you like to?
You're on
Robin, you
mute.
need to unmute yourself so that we can hear you.
Right. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yes, I have made a written submission, which I hope you have seen.
We have
do
seen,
hope
yes.
you have.
Yes, it's been circulated.
I'm therefore not going to go through that in detail again. I'll take the point from it if I can. I introduced number one is the area. It is very special. Pedals Little Gem. You've heard about it. I know it incredibly well. I've been here for nearly 40 years, up and down that area. The tranquility, etc., is exceptional, and it's recognised in the Pendle Hill Landscape Partnership in that. But do remember also that the speciality here is this particular site. Actually, in my experience, and I'm a bit of a naturalist, a unique little piece, a little enclave, a haven of woodland there with ponds in it. There is no other bit like that anywhere in this area. And in that respect, is unique. It will be completely disrupted by this sort of development. Apart from anything else, for example, the bat survey does not even tell us any assessment whatsoever of what will happen to the bats. That's just the background. It's very special, that particular place. You've heard the kind of development that is proposed. I'm not going to go into it anymore. You've heard the fears about it. I would point out that Becky Morell there has mentioned the petition which she has had signed by 100 people. They're not all walkers and things that have been nobbled. Quite a lot of those come from my area, which is Higham itself. And I can tell you there's also been a lot more expressions of concern from Higham. And I speak partly for those and try to encompass some of the things they said in my submissions. But there is a large swelling of local opposition against this, I would put it that way. And that, I believe, is something that you should be taking into account and should do under your policies. I'm not going to go into any detail of the practical problems here. You've heard about quite a few of them from other people. And there are enormous practical problems. I would also add that I have read in very great detail the supporting documentation of this, and there are a large number of serious omissions and misrepresentations, I regret to say, about many of the things here. And I would be concerned. I think you should actually be concerned to be proceeding on the basis of some of these so-called reports and visual landscape things, which are not accurate. Now, those are all background. But my main point here is that I do not believe that this has been properly interpreted by the planning officer under your core policies. You have got you've got the NPP 172 paragraph and the ENB. In determining proposals which affect both the AO and B, great weight will be given to conserving and enhancing its landscape beauty, conserving and enhancing. And matters will be considered on a needs basis, but that in addition, you've got to get the conserving and enhancing first. AONB gives the highest those are the fundamentals far beyond all the other practical. Not like this. What enhancing this area? It's an invasion of the area, and it's damaging a lot of that very special area that I have described. Needs basis, well, that's taking you to the issue of whether it's you go on about that forever. But despite everything the applicant has said, she's done no specific calculations and no market survey, despite the fact she's a marketing person. No market survey to say that this is the sort of thing that is actually required in this area. I find that quite incredible. There are lots of the.
I've given you the statistics for that.
Beg your pardon. Is somebody breaking in on me?
Yes, I've given you the marketing statistics.
I object to being broken into.
Sorry, Mr. Willoughby, can you keep going, please? You've about 30 seconds left of your time.
Well, there is also a complete breach of WRK 5, the tourism one, promote the same. No significant increase in car usage, obviously so, which will only use car usage, and you're going to get an awful lot more of it in the area. Those are two parts of WRK 5 that occur, and detrimental effect on the environment as well. There it is. I respect the applicant. I think she's got a pipe dream here, which is very laudable. Remember, she won't be here forever. She's been here for 50 years. She's got a good idea. If it doesn't work, it will go elsewhere. Pardon?
Thank you, Mr. Willoughby. Your time's passed.
Thank you.
So, David Walker, we've just got Norman Mitchell's comments now to read out. I think you were going to do that.
Yeah, I'll read Mr. Mitchell's comments from an email that he sent on the 29th of July, 11:26. Mr. Mitchell reports, I've been in contact with Robin Willoughby to see if he had received any news regarding the planning application for Stonefall Farm, Higham. Apparently, the application has been provisionally approved in spite of all the objections put into this and previous applications. Also, the meeting considering this application is being considered tomorrow, Thursday the 30th of July 2020. I wish to draw notice to my considerations and objections to this planning application, which the planning officer has received and should be read with this letter. I do not agree to the application on the grounds of 1. Access to the site, which is difficult. 2. The number of extra vehicles and people using the access roads in the area, which is already difficult to use at the present time due to the narrow roads. 3. The desecration of woodland area, together with the loss of important wildlife in the construction and subsequent use of the area under development. 4. The difficulty of emergency vehicle access to the site. 5. Water supply and disposal of sewage and extra vehicles using the roads to collect the additional refuse. Number 6. This application will be a precedent to others in the area proposing similar applications in the future, leading to further destruction of the area of beauty. 7. Due to short notice and that I only received Robin's letter regarding the meeting, further objections have to be submitted to you by 12 noon today. I am therefore having to rush this through, cannot fully evaluate the proposals. 8. It is not very democratic procedure, not receiving an objector and sending in my objections earlier, not to receive notification myself in good time from Pendle Council. 9. As you will be aware, I am on a number of committees and have over the years promoted tourism in the Pendle area, as Mike Williams, Tom Partridge, various members and staff of Pendle Council, and previous mayors of the borough, etc., well know. I am a founder member of the Walking in Pendle Leisure Trust, also a founder of Pendle Walking Festival, also the Countryside Commission Committee for Pendle Council, and have contributed to a number of publications and books on walking in the Pendle area. So I have a vested interest in promoting tourism. Number 10. Even so, I am on consideration not in favour of this planning application as it is detrimental to the area as listed above and on my previous letter of objection. Yours, Norman Mitchell.
Linda, you're on mute, so we can't hear you.
People would say that was a good thing, actually. Is that better?
Yes, we can hear you now. So that concludes all the speakers now. Catherine Hughes has an update, a planning update. I don't know whether you want to hear that and then open it up.
I'd like to hear from Councillor Newman, who's been sitting very patiently.
Okay.
Brian, come on. Brian, you're on mute as well.
Right, can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
Right, okay, thank you, Chair. Right, I've had a site visit to this application. I'm fully in agreement with Lancashire County Council about the line of sight on the road and the single track down to the farm, which is unsuitable for what the development they're asking for. I'm also very well concerned about the septic tank situation down there with all the extra effluent that there will be. This is an area of natural beauty. It's what I would call one of Pendle's jewels, and I think we should keep it that way, because if we let it go, there is no point in having an area of natural beauty. So I would like to propose that this application is refused. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Newman. Right, I've got Catherine Hughes wishing to speak. Catherine.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, just before members move to the discussion, if I could come in with the update report that we've got, and also address some of the comments that were raised during those proposals put forward. As members will be aware, we've got an update report in front of us. We have had additional comments made regarding impacts on the listed building and the conservation area. These have all been addressed in the report. We have had an amended plan, which LCC Highways have commented on. This provides a visibility display of 43 metres, which would be acceptable for a 30-mile-per-hour road. We've assessed it in terms of whether that would be acceptable, and our view is that it would, and providing that that plan can be implemented or a similar scheme, then we have changed it to approval of the scheme rather than delegated grant consent. In terms of the conditions, we've also updated those. There are quite a few conditions on there that will address the comments made by the AONB officer in terms of landscaping and external lighting. The nearest listed buildings are 62 metres to the northeast and Dean Farm, which is 650 metres to the west. Taking into account these separation distances and acceptable visual and landscape impacts, it's considered that the proposed development would not acceptably impact on the setting, the conservation area and listed building. I know members are very passionate about the AONB, and the speakers have also said that as well. It is a small-scale development. You might not agree with us on this, but bear with me. And the potential impacts can be mitigated by appropriate conditions. The site is pretty self-contained and can be well screened, and that can be conditioned. In terms of the visibility, as I've just said, we feel that's now been addressed. Whilst it is a 60-mile-per-hour road, we all know driving around the area, there's plenty of 60-mile-per-hour roads where you would restrict your speed to less than that, and more 30 miles per hour. there will be very limited, if any, noise impact from the small scale of this development, and external lighting can be controlled. There's not a significant risk to highway safety. Drainage, again, foul and surface can be controlled by appropriate conditions, and they are attached to the update report. Any further development, as members will well know, will be on its own merits. And I think in terms of that, we have given weight to the impact on the AONB. As I said, it doesn't mean there's no development. Bat survey has been done. We can mitigate for the bats. They would require a separate bat licence from Natural England, which they would need to obtain before any work was done to the barn. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed,
Chairman,
Councillor.
could I ask? It's Andrew Walker.
Just one moment, one at a time, please. I think I've got Councillor Turner wishing to come back in.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I listened very much to what Catherine has just said, and I listened to the comments made by people earlier on. And Daisy Whitehouse did, in fact, make the point of saying she anticipates 10 people per week, and also suggesting that there would only be permitted 1 car per cabin. So as there were going to be 5 cabins, that means, in my simple mathematics, 5 vehicles just for the cabins, plus the 2 for the barn conversion, which would mean 7 vehicles. 7 vehicles of people who are unused to that condition. The access from Stumphall Road down to the site is on a single track road that is extremely difficult. And as a consequence of that, we are inviting 7 new cars to travel on that road with absolutely no experience of having driven on that road previously. Yes, they may be there for a week, as being suggested, and by the end of the week, perhaps they'll have more knowledge than they had before they started. But in that week, serious accidents can happen. We all know of the accident that happened in 2019, and so it isn't as if that area has already not had personal injuries. The site visitation, I like this concept that people will not be travelling at 60 miles an hour down that road. People don't travel over 70 miles an hour on the motorway. People can, and people have the facility to travel 60 miles per hour down that road. The area about natural beauty, as we see on paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on page 3, 5 and 6, clearly identify that the difficulties with the AONB, but as I would suggest, following on from Councillor Newman's proposal that this matter be refused, I would bear in mind of paragraph 3 on page 3, where Lancashire County Council did in fact point out that Stumphall is a narrow carriageway, and as a consequence of that, the highway visibility display is inadequate on a 60 miles an hour road, and as a consequence of that, I would use the argument of lack of visibility for permission of this site, and I would second Councillor Newman's proposal. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you very much, Councillor Turner.
Can I come in, Madam Chairman?
I'm not. Shall I take it?
Andrew Walker.
So, Councillor Newman, are you wishing to come back in?
Yes, please, Chair. Thank you. I've just got a slight concern about how come the planning officer has so much input on this planning application. I thought the planning officer was supposed to be an independent person until he's heard all the evidence for or against. Right, thank you, Madam Chair.
Right, thank you very much, Councillor Newman. So,
Can I come in, Madam Chairman? Andrew Walker.
yes, certainly, Andrew.
Thank you. It's a question for Catherine, really, because I think I'm right in saying that the application site includes the access track down to the application site, but it does not include anything by way of sight lines either way. and indeed there's no land edge blue, which means that the land is not in control of the applicant, and indeed she confirmed that earlier. My understanding, it used to be in planning anyway, that you can't condition land outside of the application site and outside of the ownership unless they can demonstrate control in some way, which they can do in, for example, by a 106 agreement or something of that sort, which is not offered here. Catherine, how can you condition, as suggested in condition 14 on the update report, on land outside the application site?
Catherine, do you wish to reply to that, or
yes, through you, Madam Chairman. Mr. Walker is, as usual, correct. I think if we were trying to get the visibility display in that was required by LCC originally, the 215 metres, yes, they can't achieve that within the red edge. We have come to a view that they can have a lower visibility display. You may or may not agree with us on that, which is the 43 metres. Now, they have submitted amended plans showing that, and there is a small amount of work, but looking at the red edge that's on that, there is a small amount of land either side of the access track. The red edge isn't confined purely to that. And I think the condition that's suggested is that the development shall not commence unless and until the off-site highway works to provide that visibility display in each direction have been completed in accordance with this submitted plan, or an alternative scheme has been submitted and approved in writing. There's also a condition requiring details of passing places to be included as well. If the development can't be carried out and the work can't be done and it's achieved within the red edge, then they won't be able to commence that development. But looking at the plans that have been submitted and that we have conditioned, that work can be achieved. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Catherine. So before I take it to the vote, because I do have a proposal on the table, and
Madam Chairman, please, it's Mike.
Oh, hi, Mike. Yes, sorry.
Seeing if it's on my part, I have something to say about it. I'd like to congratulate Daisy on her typical PR submission, which was excellent. Didn't do a lot for me. The road condition, I can't say much about it because everybody else has said everything there is to say about it. There's nobody has a good word for it other than Daisy. The road speeds, I've lived in Higham for 52 years. I know exactly what that road's like. It's like a racetrack. And anybody goes up there and spends a couple of hours up there any day of the week, you will find out how bad it really is. So it's a joke when they tell me it'll do 30, they can't do 30 mile an hour or whatever. So it's totally out of control, that. Why ask the Lancashire County Council to do a survey and then just override it by their own? I thought Lancashire County Council dealt with roads. Thought that's their forte. So the planning office again is just overruling and doing what they want. The planning office has been extremely involved with this development, and I agree with Andrew Walker, not with Ken Turner, that they're not supposed to be involved to that extent. The whole development is wrong. We don't want it in our area. Take it away, Daisy, and do it somewhere else. Don't do it and spoil our area, because we know what will happen. They'll get planning, they'll do it. She'll get a good bid for it, and some big company will come along and make a big bid at it, and she'll walk away with a couple of £1 million and stick two fingers up at the Higham and everybody else. And then
thank you, Mr. Tetley. You're getting a bit personal there, which I prefer you not to do.
They just do what they want, and once there's planning permission granted, it's easy enough to get it extended, as we already know. It's just a pity. Other things on the planning department, we seem to spend all our time at Higham objecting to some stupid development, but yet we have one where our centre of the village was ruined by the roof being taken off the village post office.
Right, thank you, Mr. Tetley. You have mentioned that before.
Anything. Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Catherine.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Just to come back in and just to clarify, LCC haven't done a survey on the road, neither has the agent. As Mr. Davis said earlier, if that's something that members wanted, he would be willing to undertake that. There's been a couple of comments about planning officers being involved. That's our job. That's what we do. We negotiate when we get an application in, we assess it, we get amended schemes, and we report to members what our professional view is. And that's what we've done in this case, and that's what we do in every case to make sure members have the full facts and the information before they make a decision on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Catherine. Thank you. I am now, because I have a proposal on the table and a seconder, I am now going to move to the vote. But before I do so, can I just check with Catherine? If this is refused, does it go to P&R?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. If I could just clarify the reasons for refusal, because Councillor Newman mentioned impact on AONB, drainage and visibility. Councillor Turner mentioned the access and the lack of visibility.
Yeah.
And I think Andrew Walker also mentioned the visibility displays, but I wasn't sure if he'd also mentioned the AONB. So it was just to clarify whether we've got one reason in that it's impact on highway safety, or whether members are considering more reasons.
Well, I personally would like to consider the impact on the AONB, because this committee has a good reputation of looking after the AONB, and I hope we continue to do that. But I have it moved and seconded that this application be refused.
So on that basis, if members are going to refuse it on all three of those issues, then my recommendation would be that could lead to costs against us, and therefore the application would need to be referred to Policy and Resources Committee.
And if we just went for AONB, would it still have to go to Policy and Resources?
Yes, Chair, that's correct.
If we did it on highway grounds alone, would it have to go to Policy and Resources?
Yes, I think in this case it would, Madam Chairman, because we don't have the evidence to support that.
Yeah, we don't know, true. So, well, bearing in mind that if we refuse it, it will have to go to Policy and Resources. I'll put it to the vote now. It has been moved.
Madam Chairman, may I just one little point with what Catherine has just said. We have all accepted that Stumphall Road is a 60 miles an hour speed limit on the road, and as a consequence of that, to suggest that because we are impeding the road safety avenues by having a totally inadequate visibility display, that surely is not a matter that needs to be referred to P&R. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Turner.
Can I add to that?
Yes, certainly, Mr. Walker. Yes.
We've had a number of examples of refusals in the AONB. Most have been successful. One we're going to hear about later has not. But it's a legitimate consideration by the committee to say that something is adversely affecting the AONB. That's not a challengeable thing. That's a view of the committee. It's not so wrong that you would have costs awarded against you. It's absolutely certain that if you take a view that this development is injurious to the AONB and that the proposed visibility displays cannot be delivered because they don't control the land, then it can't be challenged. It's a question of fact. And you're entitled to take that view that you don't agree with the development in the AONB. I don't want to dispute with Catherine because we keep going back over the same ground, but it really is not something that would stand to be awarded costs against. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Walker. Thank you. So it has been moved and seconded that this application be refused. All in favour of refusal, please indicate. So that's Councillor Newman, Councillor Turner and myself are voting on this. Councillor Newman?
Yes, Chair.
Councillor Turner?
Refuse.
And myself, refuse. It has been moved, seconded and voted on that this application be refused. People have been advised that it may have to go to Policy and Resources, but we don't know definitely yet. So.
Does Councillor Carlo want to make an
Sorry, Councillor Carlo, you disappeared.
No, sorry, there's so much been said about beauty and all that. I actually had a drive up there one day and I actually saw the layout of the plants and the carpet. To be honest, it looked quite nice, but you're all right what he said. I went up that road and it was so dangerous, so tight, you know, and visibility is really dangerous, you know, to add any more traffic on that road. That's my argument.
Right, thank you. So you're voting for refusal?
I'm voting not to go through.
Right, thank you.
Chairman, there's also Noel McAvoy who's with us.
Thank you, Joanne.
I didn't know Noel had come in. Noel, have you been listening to the discussion? Councillor McAvoy, can you hear me? Councillor McAvoy?
Councillor McAvoy, you're muted at the moment. You need to unmute.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Councillor McAvoy, you've heard the debate and it's been moved and seconded that this application be refused. What is your view on it? Can you hear us, Councillor McAvoy? Oh, we're still waiting for Councillor McAvoy. It has been moved and seconded and voted on that this application be refused. Right.
Can I just ask for clarification from Catherine whether or not this is going to P&R, please, or whether...
Well, I think in view of what Mr. Walker said, it probably doesn't have to do.
I think
it would.
Sorry, Catherine.
Sorry, Chair. Yes, it would be referred to PNR. In my opinion, as you know, that will be confirmed by legal within the next couple of days.
I will appeal and send this recording to the Daily Mail.
Thank you.
Sorry. The next meeting of Policy and Resources Committee is on the 20th of August.
Right, thank you. So objectors are welcome at the meeting.
As our proposers.
That they did for this meeting, if they can let us know the day before the meeting by 12 o'clock if they wish to speak.
Right, thank you very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen. So that is the last of the planning applications. We've just got planning appeals, which I don't seem to have at the moment. Oh, we've got one new appeal, which is, it's Higham again. Appeal against refusal of the planning permission for the erection of a two-storey detached dwelling house at 11 West Close Avenue, Higham. That's the only new one. The other one we have notification, appeal against refusal for planning permission for erection of 2 dwelling houses with associated parking at Roughly. And the appeal's been dismissed for the refusal of planning permission for erection of agricultural barn and change of agricultural land to agricultural equine use. And that appeal has been dismissed. Thank you. Enforcement action, Spenbrook Mill. I believe notices have been served. Are the dates wrong on this?
Sorry, Chair, we did ask for an update on the proceedings on both cases, but I think with things that have been going on, obviously enforcement visits have been delayed.
Right, fair enough then, yes. So.
Through you, Madam Chair, we have been monitoring the site. They were off site for a while during the COVID-19 lockdown. Yeah. We have been back up on site and we are monitoring and working with the new site foreman to improve things on site. There's a number of conditions that still need to be discharged, which hopefully will be done next week. And if necessary, because we've served the breach condition notice, if they breach that again, we can take them to court to resolve that situation. So we are continuing to monitor.
Yes. I think there's been so many problems with this. And the other one is the landing field 0049 of Wheatley Lane Road fence, and the enforcement notice requiring the owner to close up the access by reinstating the stone wall, and this hasn't been complied with by the looks of it.
Through you, Madam Chairman, we will check whether that has been complied with, an update on the next one. We haven't been going out and doing the enforcement site visits where it would resulting in contact with people.
Yes, that's understandable.
We've also got the one at Dab's house, which was also on the 11th of May for the breach condition notice for the window. So we do need to check on those, and where they've not complied, we will encourage them to do so.
Right, thank you very much, Catherine. It is very difficult at the moment getting out. So, right, the next item on the agenda is the capital programme, and you've all seen the bids that we've got. Another one has come in, which is from, and I can't print it off because unfortunately my printer's not working, which is for the Scout Troop at St Thomas's, Barrowford, which is £4,000.
Madam Chairman, may I register an interest in that application? Whilst it is non-pecuniary, in no way am I recipient of any financial or material benefit from the Scouts. I am actually their voluntary honorary secretary, as treasurer, and as a consequence, if anyone wants any questions on this application, which was anticipated to be coming up at the next meeting rather than this one, I'm quite happy to answer them. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Right, thank you, Councillor Turner. Well, amazingly enough, for the I think the first time since I've actually been, we've actually got more money than we've got applications and bids in for.
So sorry, Chair, can we just clarify? Are we discussing the Scouts bid at the next meeting?
Well, I would be quite happy to discuss it now. Would that be all right, Councillor Turner?
I'm quite happy for it to be discussed this evening, Madam Chairman. It was just that I knew that the application was coming in, but I thought they were a little bit late in submitting. But I'm very pleased to discuss it and answer any questions anyone may have.
They were.
Chairman, just to clarify that all members of the committee haven't seen this bid because we thought it was going to be considered at the next meeting.
Oh, right, so fair enough then. Yes. So
I don't. So somebody might have to actually explain what the bid is or defer it to the next meeting.
I'm happy either way. I'm happy either way, Madam Chairman.
Right, thank you, Councillor Turner. We can defer it to the next meeting. I don't suppose the Scouts are absolutely desperate, are they?
Yes, but they still can defer.
Right, we'll defer that one, the Scout Hut, to the next meeting. But the other bids, has everybody seen them?
Yes, Madam Chairman.
There's one in from Barley, 2,500 for the upgrade of the parking system. Hire for £4,000 for CCTV. For Blacko, a new notice board. Old Lawn Booth for 2,900. Roughly Parish Council, £220. And roughly Parish Council again, 2,500, which is to screen unsightly sheds and supporting structures on which have recently been exposed by falling trees. We've also got a bid in for the surface improvement and steps at New Church Recreation Area. And that's for 3,500. We do actually at the moment have enough money to fund all these. So I'm going to move that we actually fund them all. You're mute. You're mute, Councillor Newman. And that would still allow us enough money, Councillor Turner.
Yeah, I will second that, Chair.
Right.
I'm happy with that.
All in favour that we fund all the bids that are in?
I'm in favour.
All in favour? Yes, I'm in favour.
Yes, Madam Chairman. Yeah.
Yeah, Councillor Turner, yes.
Yes, Madam Chairman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that does make a change because normally we have to, and we still would have enough funding for the Scouts. So that does make a change because normally we are having to.
Madam Chairman, sorry to interrupt you. May I say that as far as the Scouts is concerned, that will be a matter that will be discussed at the next meeting, and I'm sure that members of the committee will be happy to have full explanation made to them.
Thank you.
Chairman, would you like to deallocate the funding as detailed in paragraph 9 of the report? It's just £50.
It's just £50, yes, we will do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Barrowford Premises Improvement Grant. We're being asked to maintain a funding allocation of £3,000, which is in the capital programme.
Yeah, it's on appendices 1. It's number 2 already identified.
We do normally, but I know in the past it hasn't actually been used. But I think, considering what's been happening recently, when there's been so many businesses closing, that I think we ought to agree to continue the funding of £3,000.
Madam Madam Chairman. Madam Chairman, can I support what you have just said? I feel that under the present economic conditions, we need it there, and with the next agenda item, we find that we may have more interest this year than we've had in previous years, and we need to resurge the whole of the High Street and the whole of Barrowford and put it back on flying with a high level. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you very much, Councillor Turner. Yes, I do understand that the economic development team have been doing quite a bit of work in the village. So
sorry, Chair, are we going to vote on the proposal?
Councillor Newman has already seconded, so we'll vote on it. Councillor Newman, in favour? Councillor Turner?
Agreed.
Right.
Councillor Leonte?
Agreed.
Councillor McAvoy? He's disappeared again.
Okay. Councillor Newman, you need to unmute.
Councillor Newman, unmute. Or just nod your head.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Right.
Can now.
Yes, agree.
Right, fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is exclusion of public, reopening of town centres. I think Barrowford Town Centre is well and truly open.
Agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could we actually use the allocation of the ERDF funding to go towards premises improvement grants?
How much are we talking?
You know, I cannot remember.
6,476.
Oh, well, fair enough then, yes. So.
May I come in, Madam Chairman, please?
Yes, certainly.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chairman. As far as the ERDF funding is concerned, that will be subject, as with all ERDF fundings, to audit responsible back to Europe. Now, I don't honestly feel that we could link it in with the redevelopment grant that we've just spoken about, but there is nothing to stop us synchronizing both together, so that if by being shown that we can develop an inset into any specific retail or business area by showing a development to it, and as a consequence of that, that then generates a benefit that we can utilize the ERDF money into encouraging their industry. That is two separate issues, albeit that technically one may feel that they work into one, but I think we ought to keep them separate.
Yes, I realise where you're coming from on that one. So, but
the funding.
I don't think anybody has actually. I don't think any business has actually applied for any of this grant funding, even though I know they have been notified it is available.
Perhaps, Madam Chairman, I'm sorry to interrupt, Madam Chairman, but perhaps if we were to form a collective together and we were actually to speak to some of the businesses, this is ERDF funding that if it's not used, we will lose. And I'm sorry, if it's European money, please, 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 can I have it? Can I spend it? Look wisely. I'm not talking about spending it irrationally, but at least if we can improve our businesses, let us do it. Let us form a committee of the elected members whose responsibility is to let the businesses continually know the opportunity of what this money is, and see if they can come up with ideas, then we can come up with ideas to spend it effectively to bring more people into Barrowford and make Barrowford the Herculean task that we have to take it top of the poll.
Yeah, I entirely agree with you that we do need to let people know about it.
Apologies, Chair. Would you like me to go through the guidance that was issued in June regarding the 4 strands of activity for the funding?
Yes, if you would please, Mr. Walker.
4 strands of activity in June was developing an action plan, and in doing so engaging businesses, parish and town councils, communication and public information, awareness raising with businesses, e.g. on social distancing and how to make temporary adjustments to their premises if necessary, and then making town centre public spaces as safe as possible. This criteria, it says, expressly excludes grants to businesses, capital expenditure and replacing already committed expenditure.
Right, thank you, Mr. Walker. So,
but Madam Chairman, may I come in on that one? And Mr. Walker, would you not agree with me that provision of public transport to bring residents in from outlying areas into Barrowford and to taking them home free of charge would be acceptable under those conditions?
You're putting my back against the wall, Mr. Councillor Turner. I would feel that.
I'm sorry, Mr.
Public information. It could well be a part of your development of your action plan.
I think possibly we need to be talking to the parish council, because I feel in many cases they are closer to the businesses than we are. But perhaps I know the parish hasn't met for a bit and isn't going to be meeting in the near future, but perhaps we can bring it to a parish council meeting, Councillor Turner.
Madam Chairman, I agree with you wholly, and I'm pleased to see that Goldthorpe, I think it was Goldshaw Booth, did in fact execute a parish council meeting at distance, and maybe with the immense space that they have in Homefield House, that could happen, and we could still be socially distant. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Yes, I'm sure we could do. I was speaking to the chairman of the parish council the other day, and I think they're quite, they're doing a lot by telephone. They're not actually as sophisticated as we are by doing it online, but we will take.
Councillor Newman has indicated he wishes to speak.
Councillor
Newman.
Councillor Newman. Yes, Councillor Newman.
Thank you, Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Yeah. We too at Old Booth have had a parish council meeting, and I think that with this scheme, all parish councils should be involved, so that we can have a fair study of what is needed and how the money goes out in a fair way. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I agree with you. I think all the parish councils should be involved.
Yes, I agree.
So perhaps we can put it on the agenda for the next meeting and ask parish councils to go back to their parishes and talk about this.
Yes.
Madam Chairman, may I ask that perhaps you, Councillor Newman, myself, and Councillor McElvoy and Councillor Ionti, if we are available, could actually come up with a plan to present at the next meeting, so that when that plan is presented, it could be considered by the committee as a whole, and Mr. Walker could underwrite it with us, and we could actually put it into action, because otherwise as with all ERDF funding, how long is it applicable for, and when do we have to have it utilised by?
I'm afraid I don't know the answer to that, but I think we can certainly get together and have a talk about what's going on.
Well, I've got space in my house, so we could all be socially distant, and I'm sure a little glass of fresh water wouldn't go amiss.
Well, I'm sure we could meet in Homefield House, because there's definitely no problem about social distancing there. So if you check your diaries sometime.
I will make mine available for the meeting to fit with all.
Right, thank you. I will as well. So, right, the next item on the agenda is exclusion of the public and press. I'm very happy that the public and press are excluded from this item.
Yes.
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 Yes. Right. Mr. Walker, it's over to you.